Welcome to Water Supply and Wastewater Engineering course. So today is lecture number 6 and we'll be discussing the unit 3, that is unit processes in municipal water treatment plant. So today we'll be discussing the sedimentation tank design. So in the last few lectures we have discussed about the philosophy of water treatment plant design, and in the last lecture actually we have seen the different, how the water is collected from the intake structure to ultimately it reaches to our system. So we have seen the different processes, different units present in the water treatment plant, and then we have started the sedimentation tank design. That is the initial last class, lecture number 5, we have discussed the aeration. If you recall, where the aeration is nothing but the process in which we are releasing the any dissolved gas present in the water. We are making the aeration tank where basically we are dropping the water from the height, and we have seen in the last class different types of aeration tanks are available depending on our requirements, depending on our utility. We can choose the different types of aeration tanks. So in the lecture 6 today we'll be discussing the next step, that is the sedimentation tank design. So if you recall, the water, if this is a source of water, river is flowing, for example, and in this direction river is flowing, basically at the middle where we normally take the intake structure of it, and from through intake structure basically we are collecting the water, and then water reaches to our water treatment plant. So in that water treatment plant also we have seen that different chambers will be there, right? First chamber is basically what we have discussed in the last class. This is the aeration chamber. So initially first water will go to aeration chamber. There the oxygen will be added into the water through different processes we have seen in details in the last lecture. So after water, after the any dissolved gas is, if it is present, it will be removed in this step, and ultimately the comparative clean water will go to next chamber. So this chamber is, we call it the sedimentation tank or the primary sedimentation. So now water comes into the sedimentation. So in the sedimentation basically what is happening is the settling will be happening. So as we have seen that in the properties of water also, or the characteristics of water also, that water is composed, or water has many dissolved solids present in the water. Even the floating objects also will be there, right? So these objects, suspended objects, solid objects present in the water, we have to settle it down from to the bottom of this tank. So that is our main objective, to remove the solid particle present in the water. That is the main objective in the primary sedimentation tank. So here we'll be using the settling properties of solid to remove the solid from the water. So the solid liquid separation process in which a suspension is separated into two phases. So basically, let me draw it here, the water treatment. So this is something like, you can imagine a tank. So sedimentation is nothing but a big tank. You can imagine it's a diameter maybe 5 meter or 6 meter. You can imagine it's a huge circular tank, for example, and this side you have the inflow. So water is coming here, right, and water will be filled into this water sedimentation tank. So what will be happening because of this gravity, right? What will be resting in this tank maybe for some time. So in that case, what will happen? All the small particles, small does small these solid particles are present in the water, that will be there. So when water is in rest position, what will happen is because of this gravity, this particle will settle down at the bottom. So all these small particles, solid particle, will be simply settling at the bottom, and then the clean water will be there at the top, and then again the clean water will be taken out to this outlet. So in inlet basically water will be coming, so through inlet this type water is becoming here. Then the settling will take place. Settling is nothing but the particles, the solid particle will be simply settling down at the bottom, and then the clean water will be again going to the outlet. So that is the main objective here. So basically here you understand now the solid liquid separation is basically happening in two phases. So what is first phase? So the clarified that superintendent living at the top of the sedimentation tank, that is overflow, right? This is here the water will be clear water, so that will be there at the top of the water sedimentation tank, and this will go into the next chamber, right? This is the clean water. Through overflow basically water will go, whereas in the underflows there will be a small chambers opening here also. In that underflow basically all the dirt water or the pollutant water will simply wash out from the sedimentation tank. So the second phase is basically concentrated sludge leaving the bottom of the sedimentation tank. So all the particles which is present with that will be deposited at the bottom, and through this small space or bowl basically this sludge whatever is will be deposited at the bottom, it will be clean. So that is the process, very simple process in the settling in the sedimentation tank. So this tank is called primary sedimentation tank. Now you understand the water will be coming from the aeration tank. It will come to here, and then because of the gravity force and all, this will be simply settled down at the bottom, and ultimately the clean water will pass to the next chamber through overflow, because overflow means next batch of water will be coming, right? When the next batch of water will be coming, so this water will simply go into next chamber. Okay, this is the clean water will go, and the pollutant sillage which is deposited at the bottom, that will be simply removed from this type of orifice at the bottom. So that is the main purpose. I mean, that is, you understood what is basically settling. Now we'll see the purpose of settling. So purpose of settling is basically to remove the coarse dispersed phase, right? So all the coarse, see, as we discussed earlier also, that water is consist of not only small suspended dissolved solids, but also a very fine particle also will be present in the water. So in the sedimentation tank, basically we are removing the coarse particle, means which is little bigger in dimension, that will be settled down at the bottom. But still those who are dissolved solids, that will be still there present in the water, that will go to next chamber for further cleaning. So in the primary sedimentation tank, our main objective is to remove the coarser particle, not the fine particle, not the dissolved solids. We are not removing here, we are removing only big larger particles. Okay, we are removing. So to remove the coagulated and focculated impurities, to remove the participated impurities after chemical treatment. So this settling may be this chamber may be constructed in many phases. So as I mentioned, there may be after aeration, after the water takes place in the aeration, then water comes to this chamber. Okay, and from this chamber it goes to next step. This is one way to do that. Another way is, what will happen is, we can add a small chemical, like this we call it flow coagulation. So normally if you see in a village how they clean the water, they basically put alarm. If you see, alarm is nothing but chemical which basically air, which basically combines all the solid particles present in the water, and this will settle down at the bottom. So alarm is a chemical, like such chemicals also we can add into the water for better settlement of the solid particles. So to settle the sludge, that is biomass, after activated sludge process. So this settling is a property, right, where we are using the gravity force to settle down the solid particles. So this settling is used in many cases. So this is what we have seen. The first example is in the primary sedimentation tank, where we are not using any chemicals directly. This type of small particles will be settled down at the bottom, but again very fine particles won't be settling here in the primary sedimentation tank. So for that, again, we are adding some chemicals into this water, so that these small suspended particles will be attracted together, and it makes a bigger particle, and then it settles down. Okay, so that is the secondary treatment, we call it. There we use some chemicals to that, to add that. Even for the last final stage also, or for the wastewater treatment case also, we use the settlement properties, where we use activated silage process or trickling filter. We'll be seeing in the second half of our course, where we'll be discussing the wastewater treatment. So in that case, in that activated silage process also, basically we use the settling properties of or the solid particle into the water. So this is the very important properties of settling. Here we can remove all the solid particles present in the water, that can be settled down in the water. Very simple, we are using the gravity force, and we are settling down all the particles in the bottom, and we are cleaning the water. So that is the main purpose of settling. So next we'll see the principle of settling. So the suspended solids present in the water having the specific gravity greater than the water tends to settle down by the gravity as soon as the turbulence is retarded by offering the storage. So what is this mean? Meaning, already we have discussed, right? So the okay, let me again draw the source of water. So here water is flowing, right? So this is we are talking about surface water. Surface water means it composed of many solid particles present will be there. If you recall, the river water is so many big particles will be floating, right? Maybe a polythene bag, or maybe wood, or many more things, thermocol, all these things will be simply floating into the water. So we are collecting those water, right? And water goes to the water treatment plant. So through the intake structure, basically we are collecting, and water is going into a water treatment plant. So in the first step, as we discussed in the last lecture also, first step will be aeration. So this is first chamber, aeration is done. Next chamber water will go into primary sedimentation. Primary sedimentation is in the second chamber. So in that chamber, yeah, so before aeration actually we'll provide this horizontal grid. So something grid will provide at the pipe. So in this pipe basically we provide this type of grids. So why do you provide this type of grids? Basically, those large floating materials like big wooden logs or the thermocols, big particles will be simply retaining in this large screen. With this screen will be installed before the aeration here. So the big particles which dimension is more than or more than 10 centimeter or so, this will be simply retained in this screen, and then the remaining water will go into aeration. After aeration, this will go to primary sedimentation. So now as we know that water is not only composed of large particles, large solids, but also the fine solids are also present in the water, right? Even in the coarse particle, even the fine particle also present in the water. So now in each step basically we have to remove coarser particle and then in the fine particle also. So what we are keeping is this dirt water, we are keeping polluted water, we are keeping it on a tank, right? This tank we call it sedimentation tank, and when it is on rest, then what will happen? These particles which is present in the water, they will be simply settle down at the bottom, right? That we are doing here. So that is our first principle. If you can see, basically, this will be settle down. So the basin in which the flow is retarded is called settling tank. So this tank is basically we call it settling tank. Here basically we are keeping the water rest for some time, and then again then the particle will be settled down at the bottom, and then this water will be transferred to the next chamber. So the theoretical average time for which the water is detained on a settling tank is called the detention period. Very much important term. It is called detention period. Detention period means what? Like water will be staying here, right, up to 1 hour or 1.5 hour, whatever, maybe depending on the quality of water, and then water will go to next chamber. So how much water is staying here for cleaning purpose, that is we call it detention period. So this entire tank we call it settling tank, and the time over how much water is staying in this tank is called the detention period. Okay, so these two are very much important parameter in the settling. So the next is type of settling. So largely there are four types of settling you will see. So the type one is basically discrete particle settling. So what is happening in the discrete particle settling? Let me draw the sedimentation tank again. This is sedimentation tank, and water is present in the water, present in the sedimentation tank. So we fill this with the pollutant water. Well, now as I mentioned, so there will be particles, right? Coarse particle will be present, fine particle also present in the water. So these particles are present. So well, because this gravity, this particle will simply settle down at the bottom, right? So this, if the particle is settling individually, means this particle is settling, this particle is settling individually, means the settling of this particle does not affect the settling of this particle, right? Means each particle is settling individually, then we call it it's type 1 settling. So here the particle settles individually without interacting with the neighboring particle. So neighboring particle, there is no interaction, directly this particle is settling at the bottom. So this type of settling we call it type 1 settling. Next we have the type 2 side settling. So type 2 settling is what? Sometimes what happens, the particle will be charged. It will be either positive charge or negative charged, right? Because of this pollution level, this particle will be small, charge will be there. So if it is positive charge, it will be attracting the negative charged particle nearby, and when negative charged particles are coming together, now the mass of this particle will be increasing, right? Because the nearby particle also will be attracted to this positive part charged particle. So now the mass is increased, means now because of this gravity, it will simply settle down. So those type of settling we call it flocculent particles, that is type 2 settling. So that is flocculent particle. Flocculation causes the particle to increase in mass and settle at a faster rate. If the particle is charged, means either it may be positive or negative charge, then what will happen? It will attract the opposite charge, right? Is not it? If this particle is positive and this particle is negative, then what will happen? So this positive and negative will be attract together, and the sum, both the particle will be now joined, and the mass will be increased, right? Mass of this particle will be increased, so the settling speed or very fast rate, the particle will be settling at the bottom. So this type of settling we call it type 2 settling. Then we have the type 3 settling. So what is type 3 settling? Type 3 settling is basically what happens when the this we call it hindered or the zone settling, means entire zone is settling directly. So the mass particle tends to settle as a unit with individual particle remaining it's in fixed position with respect to each other. So here what happens, this entire layer will be directly settling at the bottom, so the distance between each particle will be same. So here at the when this layer is at the top of this sedimentation tank, the distance between two particle, whatever it is, now the entire layer will be settled down at the bottom, right? And the bottom also, the distance between these two particles also will be same. So that is, each particle will be staying in its position, right, in its relative position basically, and the entire layer will be settled down at the bottom, and this we call it zone settling. The entire zone is settled to the bottom. And the fourth type is the compression. Here basically the concentration of the particle is so high that the sedimentation can only occur through the compaction of the structure. Means if the more quality, if the more particles are present in the water, means the water is very much polluted, many particles, muddy water you can imagine. So in that case what will happen, directly the particle may not settle, because too much particle is already there present in this water. So in that case we can use some compaction, so that the compaction, so compression structure we can use, so that this mud water can compress at the bottom. So this fourth type of settling is very much important. Type 1 settling is basically individually each particle is settling to the bottom. So this is type 1. Type 2 is flocculent particle, means if it is particle is charged, then it will attract the nearby particles and both particles will be combined together and this it will settle down. So this is the type 2. Type 3, as we discussed, is the zone settling, means entire zone will be settling at the bottom. Okay, that we call it type 3 settling. And we have the type 4 settling. If the more quantity of solid is present in the water, then directly it cannot settle down at the bottom. In that case we have to use some compaction to settle down the particles into the from in the bottom. So this is type 4 settling. So in practice or in the normal water treatment plant, we use basically type 1 and type 2, both the types of settling, for the treatment of water. So now type 1 settling, we'll be discussing more in details about type 1 settling, because in general in a field or in a water treatment plant now in India basically we use this type 1 and type 2 settling. So the size, shape, and the specific gravity of the particle do not change with time, right? So in the type 1 settling, as I mentioned, let me draw it again, the sedimentation tank. So this is sedimentation tank, right? And the water is present in the water is filled with sedimentation tank. And then we have the particles. Particles means solid particles are present in the water. So these are the solid particles suspended into the water. So in the type 1 settling, our assumption will be what? That the size and shape and the specific gravity of the particle do not change with time. So whatever size was there at the beginning, the size will be constant throughout the settling process. So, and the settling velocity remains constant. What is settling velocity? Settling velocity means the velocity in which this particle is settling at the bottom. That we call it settling velocity. So settling velocity also will be constant. Means this particle is coming from here to here. The velocity slowly it will be coming. Right? So velocity will be constant from entire distance. If a particle is suspended in water, it initially has two forces acting on it, right? So when the particle is here, right, when it is on a suspended to the water, then what will happen? So basically two forces. What is two forces? First one is the force of gravity, means the particle has a mass, right? That's why it will have a gravity force which is attracting downward. So gravity force will be simply attracting downward. So each particle will have gravity force attracting downward, right? This is one force acting, and the next force we have discussed is the buoyancy force. What is buoyancy force? As we discussed in the earlier classes also, or maybe in the first year second year classes, you have studied the buoyancy force. Basically this Archimedes principle is there, right? Like the water also will apply equivalent opposite force in the up direction, right? That force we call it buoyancy force. That's because of this buoyancy force only we can swim in a water, or the any object is floating on a water because of the buoyancy force, right? So buoyancy force will be acting towards up. So bouncy force will be upward. Let me take some other color. Yeah. So bouncy force will be acting upward. So now you understand two forces are acting on each particle. One is this gravity force which is acting downward, and the buoyancy force, that is Archimedes principle, is there, right? So that force will be acting upward. So the gravity force, we know what is the gravity force. It will be force, let me write it out here. Gravity force is what? Newton's third law. Mass into acceleration is called force, right? So the density of each particle, density of particle, we call it rho p, into Vp is the particle velocity in which that particle is, settling velocity, particle is settling down, and g is the, acceleration due to gravity, right? G value is constant. So rho p is the density of the particle, mass, into Vp is the volume, Vp is the velocity of the particle, Vp into, sorry, not Vp, this is volume of the particle, not velocity. So the density into volume, it will give you the mass, into g is the acceleration. The mass into acceleration will give you the force, Fg, gravity, Newton's second law, what we have already know, right? So this is the gravity force acting downward. And then we have the buoyancy force, which is, we got it Archimedes principle, in that for buoyancy force Fb, which will be acting upward, which is rho into g into Vp. So what is rho? Rho is the density of the water, that we know, it is constant. G is also we know, and Vp is the volume of the particle. So rho into Vp, we got it, the mass into G. This buoyancy force will be acting upward. So now the particle, whether it will be settling or not, depends on this relative net force between this gravity force and buoyancy force. If the buoyancy force is more, then this particle will be simply floating in the water, right? So now if the buoyancy force is less but the gravity force is high, that means the mass is more. In that case, this will be simply going down, it will be settling down. So depending on this net force, so F net is nothing but the gravity force minus buoyancy force. So if F net is positive, then this particle will be settling down. If this is negative, means particle will be floating at the top. So depending on these forces, basically, you know the particle, whether it will be settling or not, that we can check it. So now once particle starts settling, for example, this F net value is positive, that means the mass is more, rho p is more compared to this rho. So in that case, what will happen? The particle will simply settle down, right? Because the gravity force is more. So when the particle starts settling at the bottom, then one more force will be coming into picture, that we call it drag force. Or you have studied that is viscosity force, right? Once the particle starts moving into the liquid, then the viscosity force, the drag force will be acting, and drag force also will be in opposite direction, isn't it? We have studied this in the 11-12 standard physics class. So this drag force will be coming into picture when this particle will be coming down gradually. So you can see here, this drag force Fd is this is the definition. Already we know, earlier we have derived this expression. Cd is the drag coefficient, Ap is the projected area of the particle. This particle, how much projected area in the horizontal plane, right? And this rho is the density, and v is the and v is the velocity. And if you not together, because drag force will be acting downward, right? And the net force will be acting also downward, because we consider this is the rho p is more, right? The particles, the density is more, that's why it is settling down, and that's why drag force has arrived, right? So if you equate this equal to this, means F net equal to drag force, right? Then you have the velocity means in which this is the particle is going down. So this v is the velocity of the particle, right? So if you equate both, from there you get what is the v expression. V is what? V is the velocity, settling velocity, basically settling velocity in which this particle is settling at the bottom. So this is the expression for the settling velocity. Please remember, that is very much important. Now here you have seen the CD. If you see, CD is what? Drag coefficient. So drag coefficient is also changing depending on the flow of the water. If the flow is laminar flow, in the fluid mechanics you have studied this one. So there are three types of flows, right? Laminar flow, transitional flow, and the turbulent flow. So how we can do it? Using this Reynolds number, we call it RE, right? We have to compute the Reynolds number for the flow. If the flow is laminar flow, then CD value is this one. If the flow is transitional flow, then the Reynolds number, then the CD will be this with this expression. And if the flow is turbulent, then the CD value will be this one. So the Reynolds number we can compute with this expression. Already you have studied in the fluid mechanics class. So if the Reynolds number RE value is less than 1, then we call it is the laminar flow. So basically you have to compute the Reynolds number. So if the Reynolds number is less than 1, that is laminar flow. If the Reynolds number is 1 to 10, then it is transitional flow. And if the Reynolds number RE value is more than 10, then we call it as turbulent flow. Right. So based on this Reynolds number RE, we compute what is the value of CD, and that CD will be substituted here, and all the parameters also. Then we'll get what is the V. V means settling velocity of the particle. This is also very much important to compute, because our main objective is to design the primary sedimentation tank, right? To design the sedimentation tank. What do you mean by design? Design means here we are finding out, how much, what will be the height of this tank, what will be the width of this tank. If it is a circular, then what will be the diameter of this tank. So all these parameters are comes under design of sedimentation tank. So as a civil engineer, that is our main objective, to design the sedimentation tank. Means you have to find out what is the dimension of the sedimentation tank. So to find it out the dimension of the sedimentation tank, we need to find it out what is the velocity, like what is the particle velocity, what is the settling velocity. All these things we have to compute. So using this expression, basically we can compute what is the settling velocity. So now if for the laminar flow, just CD value whatever we have discussed in the earlier, you just plot it down and you will get the simplified expression is this one. So in the last slide, the same expression we have derived it. Now this expression is only for the laminar flow, and this equation is called basically Stokes equation. Very important. So Stokes equation deals with the settling velocity of the particle. Very much important to you, and you have to remember this formula, because in many competitive exams the Stokes equation they asks. Okay, so now we have derived, actually in the last slide we have derived this expression from basic scratch. Now you understand basically there are three forces acting on each particle. One is this gravity force which is acting downward. Next we have the buoyancy force which is acting upward. Similarly the direct force which is also acting the upward. So from these three forces basically we have derived this expression, that is Stokes equation. So Stokes equation is valid only for the laminar flow, means Reynolds number is less than 1. So for the transitional flow, means the Reynolds number will be in between 1 to 10. In that case, the same expression in that CD value will be changing, right? So we have seen already CD value for the transitional flow. You substitute though that value, you will get, that is the V square value, right? And this is actually a non-linear equation, you can see, and from there you have to solve it. So you have to calculate the velocity using the Stokes law or that turbulent expression. So calculate and check the Reynolds number. Basically we have to find out what is the flow Reynolds number, right? So based on the Reynolds number we have to calculate the value of CD, use the general formula and substitute. Okay, like that basically we can find out what is the velocity V. So now here we'll be discussing the types of settling tank. So we have seen in the last slide also that what are the different types of settling. Settling 1, settling 1 2, settling type 2, settling type 3. So here we'll be seeing the type of settling tank. So settling tank, as we have seen, it will be something like that, right? And water will be basically staying here for up to 1 hour or 2 hour depending on our detention time. So we'll be keeping the water in a rest for some time, and then water will be transferred to the next chamber, right? So that is the processes what we are following. But this type, if water is in the rest for some time, then we call it is a intermittent type of tank. Means here the water will be in rest for some time, and then we are removing it into the next chamber. But in another type of settling tank, you will find basically here the inflow will be continuous. So continuously water will be coming here. Okay, and slowly the velocity will be very less. Velocity of the water will be very less. So the water will be flowing from this portion to this portion gradually, and ultimately it reaches to here. And at the continuously you will have the output of water also. So while the water is traveling from here to here, basically it settles down. All the particle will be settling down at the bottom. So those type of settling tank, we call it as a continuous type of settling tank, where the water is coming continuously at a very slow velocity, and the output also water will be getting at a slow velocity. So in general, in our water treatment plant for the city or for the rural purpose, basically we use this continuous type of settling tank, where water is continuously coming and continuously going out. So the intermediate tank is actually where the water will be rest for some times, and then water will be shifted to next chamber. So the intermittent tanks are also called, this, where the water will be stored for certain period and keep it for the complete rest. But in the continuous flow, as already we discussed, the flow velocity is only reduced, right? The flow velocity will be very slow. Very slowly will be keeping the water. So water will be gradually passing from here to, slowly it will travel from here to here, and ultimately it goes to the out chamber. Okay, so the settling basin may be either, so this settling tank, either it may be rectangular or it may be square, right? Depending on our design type, we can do it, right? Either it may be square or it may be rectangular, or sometimes we use a small narrow chamber, something like that. Small chamber, long chamber we make it. So this is input, water will be coming. So water will be passing through slowly long chamber, and then here you have the output. So why we keep long chamber? Because the water will be more time it will be there in the tank, so that the mood settlement will takes place. So this shape may be either it may be circular, or it may be rectangular, or it may be a long channel type, something like that also. Depending on our requirement, basically we choose the appropriate thing, and will ultimately we design that settling tank. So this is the figure for the long rectangular settling basin. You can see this is the typical diagram, for that. So here you have the inflow. Inflow means the water is coming maybe from the aeration tank. Before that we have one more tank, right? That is the aeration tank that we discussed in the last class. So from the aeration tank, the water will be coming through the influent, and then we have this wall, we call it buffalo wall. So buffalo wall, basically we keep it because to reduce the speed of the water, because this, as I mentioned, this is a continuous basin, right? Because water is continuously coming here, so the speed here should be less. So that's why we keep this type of wall, hanging wall, you can see. So this, because of this wall, basically whatever the influent velocity is there, velocity of water will be reduced, and slowly water will go down, and then it will go up, right? And then it will slowly pass through in this region, and then ultimately it goes out, that we call it effluent, right? So influent means the raw water is coming here in this chamber, sedimentation tank, and then the effluent means the final water will be going out. Okay, so now here you can see this type of buffalo water wall, we make it basically to reduce the speed of water, and also water will be distributed across the section of this tank. So now if you see the slope also, so now you understand water is coming here slowly, and it will go down, and then it will go simply up, something like that, and then it will pass through in this direction. So while it is going in this direction, the particle will be settled down, right? So particle, let me draw it here. So water will be composed of this many particles will be there, right? So this particle will be coming here, and it will go up. So here you have the particles, and slowly direction is in direction, flow is going in this direction. So this particle will be simply settled down, right? Because very slowly it will go, so all the particles will be there. So this will be settled down at the bottom. So this is the zone. This is in this zone, basically all the particle will be settled, right? We call it salage zone, right? All the waste particle will be deposited here, and the water will be simply going here through that, and it will go to effluent. This is the actual diagram, and you can see that this is made in a slopy fashion, so that whatever salage will be deposited at the bottom, this will automatically go, and it will come to here, and through here we can clean all the salage which is deposited at the bottom. So this entire rectangular plant can be divided into multiple zones. So the first zone, we call it is the inlet zone. Inlet zone means basically water is coming into the through the inlet. So this first zone, we call it inlet zone. So in the inlet zone, we have this waffle wall to keep the velocity less, and also to do distribute the water into the entire section. That is, we call it waffle water, we keep it, and this zone we call it inlet zone. And then in the middle portion, this dotted line, you can see this zone we call it settling zone. So here basically actually the settlement takes place, the big particles will be there that will be settling down to the bottom. So this zone we call it settling zone, and then the bottom, basically this zone we call it sludge zone. Basically here all the sludge will be deposited, and this is the sludge zone. And the fourth one, last zone, we call it outlet zone. Basically here the water will be taken out, and clean water will be going into next chamber. So these are the four zones. So the inlet zone is basically region in which the flow is uniformly distributed. So through this waffle valve, the flow is uniformly distributed across the section. Okay, the next zone is settling zone. The settling occurs in this zone, right? Then we have the outlet zone, means the clarified effluent, means the cleaned water basically is collected in this zone. Okay, through the outlet where, and the fourth zone is the sludge zone, where the solid particle or the pollutant is deposited at the bottom, that will be collected in that. So this type of that conveying belt also will be present, will be there. The main purpose of this belt is whatever sludge will be, the sludge is deposited at the bottom, that will be simply pushed to this direction, and here the sludge will be deposited, and through this pipe, basically sludge hopper, through that all the sludge will be taken out. right? So that is the actual process of the long rectangular basin. So the inlet and outlet arrangement. So as we have seen already in the last slide also, the inlet shall be designed to distribute the water equally at uniform velocities. The velocity will be very less, right? Because water will be slowly passing. Maybe entire 1 hour or maybe half an hour time is required to water to travel from one side to another side. So such that we have to design. So velocity we have to maintain it. So in the inlet device we have to maintain the velocities. A buffalo shall be constructed across the basin, close to the inlet. We have seen in the last slide also, right? And should be projected several feet. It will be up to below the water surface to dissipate the inlet velocity. The main objective with the inlet device is basically to dissipate the energy, which is dissipate the velocities basically across the section. Okay, so that is our main objective here. So now next is the outlet device. So in the outlet where or the submerged orifice outlet device, we can see after the clean water will be collected in the outlet device, and there also we have some portion. If you see, let me draw it here. So if you see the sedimentation tank, it looks like something like that, right? So here you have the water is coming, and we have this wall here. This is the waffle wall, right? Then water will be coming, and the outlet is not simply like that, sorry. So outlet also will be in this fashion. So so this is the outlet shape basically. So the water, whatever will be there, it will overflow in this direction and it will be deposited, and then slowly it will go to next chamber. So that's why we call it outlet device. Also has to be designed such that, as much as low turbulence should be generated at the outlet, so that it does not hamper the settling which is happening here at the sedimentation tank. So now the next important term here is the wear overflow rate. So what is wear overflow rate? So you can say this is a sedimentation tank, a real picture of a sedimentation tank. Basically, this is the water. It is on rest for some time, and slowly this is the outlet zone. Basically, there water will be simply, this is the drain we make. Okay, this is the drain through which the clean water will be deposited through in this drain, and it will be ultimately goes to the next chamber. Okay, and here is basically water is staying for some time. So the large wear overflow rate, wear overflow rate means how much water is collected. That is the unit. Let me write it out. So that q we denote it, q equal to how much time it water is staying. So that will be in meter cube, means how much water is deposited in each drain per day per meter length. So in 1 meter length of warehouse, how much water is deposited, that we find it out wear overflow rate. So this q we denote it wear overflow rate, which is denoted in meter cube, means how much water, how much liter water is deposited per day, means one day in 1 meter length. So this 1 meter length, how much it is deposited. So that we call it wear overflow rate. So large wear overflow rate result in excessive velocity at the outlet. For example, for the entire city you want to treat the water, that means for that you need large quantity of water to be treated. So in that case, the the wear overflow rate also should be high, right? Because you have to clean more quantity of water. So if you increase this q value, then what will happen? Ultimately the settling time also will be very less, right? So water will be very quickly passing from inlet to outlet, so the treatment also may not be good. So our main objective will be, we should keep as much as low this q value, this wear overflow rate, as low as possible, so that more time water will be staying on this sedimentation tank before coming into the drain. Okay, so that is our objective. So where loading generally kept into 300 meter cube per day per meter, means that normally we keep this wear overflow rate into 300 meter cube per day per meter length, means 1 meter length, that much of water will be deposited. So it may be necessary to provide the special inward wear design. So if you keep it a straight line, what will happen? Then the per meter length is less, right? So length is less, means less quantity of water will be deposited, but we want to increase the treatment, more quantity of water should be treated. So in that case, this type of many type of patterns we can make it grid pattern, so that more quantity of water will be filtered out, or overflow rate, to increase the overflow rate, or basically overflow rate is same, but the length we are increasing. So to increase the ultimate outflow. So now this is the figure for the circular basin. So in the last slide, you have seen the rectangular basin, means water is coming from in the last slide. Let me draw it quickly. So this is the rectangular, means water is coming here and slowly it is passing here, and this is the outlet water is going. But for the circular basin or circular type of sedimentation tank, here the system is little different. Here we have the inflow. So like that, the pipe will be there. This pipe water will come here, and this is the wall. In this wall, basically water will go here, and ultimately this is the actual circular tank. So water will be staying in this tank for some time, and ultimately the good quality of water will be filtered or drained out in this chamber. So automatically overflow will be very, because continuously we'll be pushing the water in this direction, right? So the water will be so the velocity here, it is not constant. Horizontal velocity of the water won't be constant, because here the velocity is little high. Then when it goes towards the side periphery of this circular tank, then the horizontal water velocity also will be less, and the settling will take place in this zone. The entire zone water, the settlement will take place, and ultimately you can see this type of slopes we made it, right? So whatever settlement takes place, it will come into this portion, and ultimately through this sludge out. So through this point we are basically removing the sludge. So that is the actual process in the circular settling tank. So circular settling tank basin uh, have the same function. So function is same, the process is same as the long rectangular basin, but the flow regime is different. The flow regime means in the long rectangular channel, what will happen is the velocity is same, right? The water velocity is same across the section, whereas in the circular tank, the water velocity is not same. So near to this zone, the circular velocity will be, water velocity will be high, but when the water gradually passes through the periphery, the velocity will be gradually reducing. So that is the only difference between the circular and the rectangular mm, chamber. So the sludge removal mechanism in circular tank is simpler. So here you can see sludge removal is also very simpler and requires less maintenance. So this type of circular settling tank also many places we use. So depending on our requirement, we can choose either long rectangular settling tank or this type of circular settling tank. So now the settling operations. So let's see this part now. So the settling operations, as we have seen, the vertical component. So water will be passing, right? So water. So let me draw the channel part. So this is the long channel sedimentation tank. So water will be simply flowing here, and then water will be simply traveling like that, and it will go like that, right? So now if you look at a particle, so here is a particle. So each particle will be there, right? So each particle will be gradually, when at the beginning of this tank, the particle is at the surface, right? But gradually the horizontal velocity is there, so the particle will be simply settling also, and also water also moving. So this is the shape, particle shape in the settling particle shape in the long rectangular channel. So gradually water also moving in this direction, and the particle also moving downward, right? So each particle has two forces. One is horizontal force, because of this water it is moving horizontally, and also because of this gravity, the particle is settling down at the bottom. So the each particle will be forcing will have the two velocity. One is the horizontal velocity, vt, and sorry, this is vertical velocity, vt. This is already we have derived, right? Stokes equation we have derived in the earlier slides. And the horizontal velocity means, slowly this particle is going horizontally also. So each particle will have two velocities. Now if you consider that a particle, it takes a t naught time to reach from here to here. Also the t naught time requires particle to settle down from the bottom. So if you consider t naught is the time basically to particle will be reaching from here to here, and also the t naught time is required to settle down, then all the particle value more than v naught, v0. So let me write it here. So you consider a column. Okay, water column. In that particle, at the beginning, particle is at this top position, but after some time what will happen is this column will move into this, right, this position. This particle also will go down. Same, this column will again go here. This particle will gradually fall down. Is not it? So if you consider t naught time, okay, let's assume t naught time. If you consider the particle from here to here it reaches, and also t naught time is required to particle to settle down, then all the particles velocity less than settling velocity should be settled down. Okay, and so this is the expression for that. So time taken t naught corresponding to the retention time of the settling zone, t is equal to v by q. So what is v? V is the volume of the sedimentation tank. So this T is the retention time, means how much time is required for the particle to settle down from here to here, how much time is required. That is, we call it retention time, right? So retention time T is denoted as V by Q. V is the volume of this tank. That we know, simply we can find it out. What is the height, length, and width? If you multiply all these three coordinates, you will get V. V is the velocity, the volume of this sedimentation tank, and Q is the discharge, means how much water is deposited at this outlet. So this is the Q is the discharge. So you have studied this equation in the fluid mechanics course. So V is volume equal to Q into T, right? From there, basically T is equal to V by Q. So V is nothing but the volume, right? Volume is width multiplied by width, length, and the depth. So multiplied by length, depth, and the width by Q, you get it. T is the total retention time. Retention time means how much time water will be staying in this tank, that we call it retention time. So the same expression is explained here also. Whatever I have explained, same thing is written here. You can read it out. Very much important parameter. So ultimately we have derived the expression V naught equal to Q by AS. Okay, so AS is the area, and Q is the basically total how much flow you are deriving, how much flow is coming out from this sedimentation tank, that is Q. And AS is the area of the sedimentation tank. So here we have seen basically this depth actually does not matter, velocity. What it matters is the area. Area means width and the depth, width and the breadth of this tank is what it matters, the settling velocity V naught. Okay, now will be our main objective here in this course is basically to design the water treatment plant, right? So what do you mean by design? Design means basically we are finding out the length, breadth, and width, all these parameter of this water treatment plant. So what are the design details? So the detention period normally for the plain sedimentation, it is in this range. So 3 to 4 hours normally we keep it. And for the coagulant sedimentation, coagulant means if you add any chemicals into the sedimentation, then the detention period is reduced. It is 2 to 2.5 hours. Okay, so depending on our depending on whether we are going with plain sedimentation or it is coagulant sedimentation, that is the detention period. So whenever we are designing the water treatment plant, we can choose the detention period from in this range to in this range. Now next is velocity of flow. Velocity of flow in flow, horizontal flow, normally it is kept as 30 centimeter per meter. So the velocity is from horizontal velocity from normally we keep it 30 centimeter per meter, and the tank dimension normally it is the length by breadth ratio is 3 to 5. 3 to 5 normally we keep it. Generally L length is 30 meter we common. There is a normal practice, some values, initial values we have given when we are designing, so the values can be guessed from in this range and then we can design it. So the length may be 30 to 100 meter we can consider, and you can see, and breadth also 6 to 10 meter. You can imagine length is very high, right? Depending on how much quantity of water we have to remove, we have to clean, we have to treat. Okay, so for the larger cities maybe we can keep it 100 meter, whereas for smaller cities we can keep it 30 meter. Now the depth of this sedimentation tank, maybe you can consider it 2.5 to 5 meter, right? In this range, whatever you can consider, 2.5 to 5. Now the surface overflow rate. Surface overflow rate means how much liter is purified. So that is for plain sedimentation, it is 1200 to 1800 liter per day per meter square area. Okay, similarly per tank area. And for the flocculated water means if you have the chemical, then the water flow will be increased, right? That will be 24,000 to 30,000 liter per day per meter cube. Tank area is the Q value, you get it. And the slope, you have seen that we have provided the slope at the bottom, right? Rectangular slope, that is 1% at the inlet, and for the circular we provided 8%. Right, so this is the general design value. So when you take a new value, when we take the new design, in that case we can choose the values in between in this range, and we can design the actual water treatment plant. So now we'll be solving a problem quickly. So that is to design a sedimentation tank design, right? So the problem here is design a rectangular sedimentation tank. So it is given that is rectangular, very much important. So it is not circular, it is given already in the question, is rectangular sedimentation tank you have to design to treat 2.4 million liter of raw water. So 2.4 million liter of raw water you have to treat. The detention period may be assumed as 3 hours. 3 hours means water will be staying in the water treatment that sedimentation tank up to 3 hours. Okay, that is given to us. And also you have to design. Design means you have to find it out the dimension of the rectangular sedimentation tank, right? and we have to treat 2.4 million liter of water, raw water. So how we got this 2.4 million liter of raw water? That is from the population forecasting. We have seen in the lecture 2, lecture 3 also, that how we can estimate the quantity of water to be treated. So 2.4, from there we got it, so we have to design it. So what are the things you have to, so the raw water flow per day will be written 2.4 million. So if you convert it into liter, how much it will be? 2.4 into 10 to the power 6. So we are converting million into normal liter, so we are multiplying it with 10 to the power 6 liter. So that much liter of quantity we have to filter every day, and then the detention is period is given to us 3 hours, right? We have to find out what is the length, breadth and width of the sedimentation tank. That is the question. So the volume of the tank we can easily compute. Already we have seen the formula, right? The what is T, or what is V? Volume equal to Q into T, right? Already we have seen this formula in the last slide. So V is the volume, Q is the how much quantity of water we have to treat, and T is the total retention period. So the flow is given to us 24 million liter we have to treat, multiplied by per day, isn't it? Per day, that means this multiplied by 24, and the detention period is 3 hours multiplied by 3. So the volume of the tank, easily you can get it 300 meter cube. So that much is the volume of the tank, right? So the volume of the rectangular tank, so we are designing this type of rectangular tank. So this is the water, so volume already we computed, which is nothing but 300 meter cube. So the assumed tank, so in last slide we have seen that some design values. So the depth of the tank, normally we can assume 3 to 5 meter, you can assume 3 meter, others can assume 5 meter, one can assume 4 meter, there is no problem. Anyone can choose the values from 3 to 5 meter, any value. So if you consider 3 meter, then the surface area will be, if you divide it by 3, that will be 100 meter square, right? The surface area of this sedimentation tank is 100 meter square. If you assume length by breadth, because we are considering the long channel, right? Long channel, in that case the length will be high than the breadth. So if you consider L by B equal to 3, you can consider 3 to 5. That is our design value, right? Anyone can consider 3.5 or 4, any values up to in a reasonable range. So L by B will, if you consider 3, then L is equal to 3B. So from there you can easily compute what is the value of B and what is the value of L. So B will be 5.8 and L length is 17.4, right? That is the, now we computed the dimension of the sedimentation tank. So the height already we assumed, that is 3 meter. Width W is that is length, already we computed 17.4 meter, and the breadth B is already computed 5.8 meter. So all this design parameter, the designing is completed. Now we have to check whether how much is the surface loading. Surface loading, already we know how much water we are treating, right? So that by the area, by the surface area of this water sedimentation tank. Surface area of the sedimentation tank is how much? Surface area is 100. So total this much water we are purifying by 100. This per liter per day per, so this comes out to be 24,000 liter per day per meter cube, basically. That is our overflow rate, and which is less than 400, right? In the last slide we have seen that for the plate sedimentation, overflow rate should be 100, 10,000 to 20,000, whereas mm, in the flocculated tank or the chemical sedimentation tank, in that case the range up to 30 liter per day per meter square. So ours is less than 30 or 40. So whatever value we go, whatever design we have done, it is quite reasonable, and this is the final design we can consider. So like that, now this design will be given to the civil engineer on field. He will be constructing this large sedimentation tank. So you can imagine what is the dimension. It's a huge dimension, and that we are designing. So in this lecture, basically we have seen from the starting to end, and that the sedimentation process, how sedimentation takes place, how the particle velocities are developing, right? We have seen, you have derived the equation, Stokes equation and all for the particle velocity, and we have seen the entire sedimentation plant design, tank design, and at the end we have solved one simple problem also. Thank you.